Welcome to my Bajerski YouTube channel. It's a beautiful day. It's a beautiful day to talk about truth. And unfortunately, I can't, because if I do start speaking truth, my beautiful, I don't know how many years old this YouTube channel is, will be taken down and you'll never see it again. And that will be one little push of a button from somebody in either the AI technology on YouTube or somebody who's watching and waiting for just one more slice of truth coming out that they don't like. So it's a balancing trick, and I think I've kind of done quite well. Watch now, I'll either get knocked over by a bus or this will get taken down. All of it will get taken down. But thus far, I feel like I've been a kind of clown on one of those balls with the piece of wood and trying to balance myself, throwing about 50 balls in the air, and each ball represents each person who's watching this. It's like, talk about crystals, talk about the truth, talk about energy, talk about all of the people who are doing harm in the world, talk about... So I've been trying my best to balance out and bring love into this community that we all share together, and it's very dear to me because I love your messages. You guys are just brilliant. And you've helped me through a lot of my times, because as I speak to you like this now, this is a form of venting for me. So I don't spend much time with people these days. I'm more a hermit. I keep myself to myself. I work on crystals daily, and that really helps tremendously. So working with crystals has kept me very balanced and sane in a world which is filled with insanity. So to be truthful with you, I'm just about finished with the truth again for a couple of months till my strikes have gone, and maybe I'll bring that truth again. So I'll kind of, it'll be a little bit like a slope. Sometimes I'm going down and sometimes I'm going up, and whether you believe going down is flying free and enjoying it and talking about love, and then we go up where it's the truth and what's going on right now and the suppression of humanity. And then I'm trying to balance it as best as I can. It is true that truth has become far more powerful now than self-help. So it's very clear to see that the videos that were taken down were all to do with truth. The self-help videos, i.e. crystals, don't get as much traction. So people aren't really as interested in self-help these days. They're not interested in working on themselves. They just want to know what's going on so they can get upset or angry and sometimes maybe take that information and do something good with it. But mainly I see nothing but sadness and anger and people being upset and not doing anything with that information. So for me, the information that I share with you, all I can do is put it out there to what I feel deep down. I do know a lot of people who spend hours and hours looking at genealogy, looking at all the factual evidence of past, and sometimes I'll share that with you as bullet points, not as factual evidence and say go and check it out here and check it out there. I want you to just go and do your own research and then utilize that if you feel it's correct. And what do you do with it? Most people basically shelve it and don't really, and just look for another piece of information. And then when they've got the other piece, it's a bit like people who go on courses. Some of them utilize that course and work with it, and some just go on to the next course, and they never really become a master of anything. And I, at 38 years old, decided to become a master of something, because I was a master of nothing before. I was just doing so many things. So I spent then 20 years dedicated to energy and to healing clients and to working with crystals and incense and oils, going into properties and seeing what was in that property, i.e. that you couldn't see but was causing great harm, stress, and physical and emotional issues. So I would go into houses and explain what negative energy was, what spirit trapped in between two worlds is, what spirit in the spirit world is, the difference, and I would help people clear and heal and strengthen. People would come to me on a daily basis, Monday to Sunday, and they would come to me with great issues, problems, all sorts of medical conditions, cancers, all sorts of issues which are abuse and grief, and I would help those clients the best to the best of my ability. So that's really where I shine. So when I do radio shows, a lot of the times it's never really about who I am and what I've done, because it's very difficult for people to understand that. So they normally ask me other things. So somebody sent me a video yesterday of a guy called Joe Rogan, and it was all about, somebody was talking to me about it actually, and then a friend of mine was talking to me about it, and I said, why is it that they always, everything that's ever done when it comes to talking about certain subjects, why do they never bring on people who really know that work and what they've done? They always bring on people who haven't got a clue of what they're doing. And it's like, it's frustrating sometimes, because I'm thinking, you know, this conversation could have gone in such a different way if I was sat there. Not that I want to go on to Joe Rogan, I don't. But if somebody was sat there who was, let's say, 20 years in the working of going into properties every day, churches, catacombs, houses, pubs, clubs, restaurants, Victorian houses, barracks, and all over the world, and sat and worked with spirit who's trapped in between two worlds. Work with them by sitting them and speaking to them and helping them move into their home, not trapped in between two worlds. They don't, because that conversation could open up so much more and could be so vital to the change and the frequency of the world. Now, I've spent many years trying to help certain people, only a few, certain people who wanted desperately to be somebody who helped people move back into the light, who understood spirit and who understood spirit trapped in between two worlds, which are two different energetic frequencies, and to understand how to help them move back into the light. I'll give you one perfect example. I don't know if I ever wrote about this, but there was a time that I was invited, very few, but there was a time I was invited by many mediums and psychics to a beach. And this was going to be a celebration. So I thought, okay, it feels okay, it feels nice. So I went down, it was mid-afternoon. We all sat down in a circle, and there was somebody kind of took over and started talking, and then asked us all to do the Om. And then as we sat there, they wanted us to meditate. So we began the meditation. What I found fascinating and what really opened my eyes to all of this, and I was 38 years old, 39 when I first started. And as my eyes were closed, I could feel spirit coming into this circle from all over. And I could feel a lady, a beautiful lady, and then a child and a lady, and other spirits coming in. And I could see this bright light. So I opened my eyes to see if this was just an imagination, just something that I just created. And in that moment, my eyes captured an image of a light in the center. And it was like a beam of light, which wasn't perfect. It was almost like fog, but it was kind of this shape, cylindrical, and it rose right up. And as I opened my eyes, all I could see was the outline of silhouettes of people moving into the light and disappearing. I was so overwhelmed by it. It only lasted for a few seconds, and then it disappeared. And then I closed my eyes again and continued to meditate and understand what was happening. In that 30 minutes, I had such a download of what had happened in that circle that I was so excited. I never said anything, and all the mediums and the psychics in this circle, after that 30 minutes, had no clue what had happened. They didn't mention it. I asked anybody, how did that feel? You know, I was curious. I said to the lady who was, you know, very well known as a medium, I said, how did that feel? And nothing was said. So it was like, this is really strange. So I went away from that, and I realized that even without our knowing, we can create a circle, or we can create an energy that we can bring a certain frequency into wherever we are And we can help spirit move into the light, not even by talking about it, but by creating a good energy in the room. And that was the beginning of my journey, where people were asking me to go to their houses and to help them. Is there something in this house? Is there something happening? And then I started trying to communicate to spirit, and then I tried to bring this light into this room, which eventually I started to get right. It took a while, but I started to understand it more and understand that it's actually spirit in the spirit world who brings that light forward and offers that light so that they can move home. It's an expression. It isn't light. It's an energy that then helps clear the spirit trapped in between two worlds. And I realized that the clarity of that so-called light we call light is a purification instant moment of us moving from the frequency of heavy energy into a light energy. So then we are able to move from one dimension to another, one veil to another. So the idea of saying that the light is actually not actually true to say. If you really look into it, it's not really a light. It's a vibration and frequency that spirit can create if you help create that in a room. So, like I said, this conversation I'm talking to you now should have been the conversation that was on Joe Rogan. Not two guys who haven't got a clue what they're doing and messing about, not knowing who it is, what it is, where that I find that fascinating how nobody ever really talks about this kind of thing to its real core and understanding. Because you realize that most people don't understand it and don't know it. So they regurgitate from books, they make up stories instead of saying, you know, why don't you ever talk or try it yourself? Why don't you ever work at it yourself? Why don't you, instead of just bringing young kids on who have no clue to anything, why don't you bring people on who know genuinely what they're doing? You know, it's like, you know, we're talking about the engine of a car. We bring a guy on who's never touched an engine before, who's talking about the engine to Joe Rogan. It's like, where is this going? What is this conversation about? It goes nowhere. It just leaves things open that nothing is ever really understood. And I always find that fascinating, because I'm not just talking about the Joe Rogan experience. I'm talking about so many interviews that I see that people really are just scratching the surface and don't really have a clue of what they're talking about, but regurgitating other people's books and information, but no truth in what they do. And I find that the reality in this world is exactly that now. Nothing is true anymore. Everything is just hit and miss. Everything is, you know, just conversation, but no real core truth through experience. And that's what's missing. So when we talk about this channel, I've done thousands of videos of trying to gently bring forward truth and gently bring forward experience from these 20 years of what I've done and how I've worked with clients and what energy is and how we work with it, and talk about crystals and what frequency with the crystals. My next video now after this will be a very interesting one, because I'm going to go into depth, and that is about how to cleanse a crystal and what is the knowing why we clear crystals, why should we clear crystals, and should we clear crystals, and is there any reason. We're going to talk about all of that, all of it, but I'm going to go into a deeper place now where it might upset people, because I don't like to upset people, but I like to speak the truth, but gently, because you can't teach Einstein to a child in a day. And if you would have given me all this information now about what I did over these 20 years, I just wouldn't know what to do with it. I couldn't utilize it. It would be probably dangerous. So what I've done, what I've tried to do, is give everything, but in a way that is drip fed. So, okay, I've got this piece of information. Now I'm going to utilize it. If I've got 1,000 pieces of information, you're going to lose 99% of it, because you might have fixated on one and focused on that. So my channel is more about drip feeding and giving you snippets of information that you either utilize or you don't. But if it's simple enough and not too deep, then you can think about it more and think about the deepness of it yourself, and you can work on that yourself. So that's what I've always tried to do. There's been times that I've gone really upset because I know deep in my consciousness that what's happening in the world and what's being done in this world, it feels like if I don't say something, I'll go crazy. And if I don't say something, then I'll feel as if I haven't contributed to this world by saying, hey, don't go into that shop there because everybody's coming out and they're being sick after they've eaten a pie. Don't eat them pies because they're making people ill and sick. They're toxic, okay? So if I see somebody coming out with a pie and they're falling over and they're sick and they're having a heart attack, I'm going to start to tell people, you know what? The last 10 people that came out of there eating them pies, they're all having heart attacks. They've got issues. Their face is going. So maybe don't eat them pies. But what's happened is that this system, this awful system, is stopping people from telling people that people are suffering from eating in that shop with pies. For me, I have a choice. I can sit and go all day and choose to ignore that shop selling toxic pies, or I can stand there and tell people like you and say, look, I think there's something wrong with the pies in that shop. Just check it out before you go and eat one. And that now has become sinister. It's become dangerous. It's become almost criminal. And as you can see, they're taking my videos off. So they took 5 videos off yesterday. Why? Because I made videos on so-called people that I shouldn't have talked about. People talk about people every day, but nobody censors that. People say things all the time. But why me? Why am I censored for it? Who am I? I've got a small following of 180,000. That's not massive. There are people out there like Brand and Joe Rogan. They never get censored. They never get the videos taken down, and so it's, again, you might turn around and say it's the way they say it, the way they speak, they're very careful. I just think no. I just think that they target certain people, absolutely. So I'm on my second strike now, so I am not going to talk about that pie shop and how if people eat them pies, they're gonna the chances are something bad's going to happen to them in the near future. I'm leaving that until all the strikes have gone and I'm back to normal again, hopefully, and the channel doesn't get taken down. But for all those who get upset with me, and there's many that I'm not talking about what's going on in this world right now, there are many people out there who are talking about what's going on in the world. They might not be on here. They might be on Rumble. They might be on other platforms like Telegram and stuff, wherever they may be. But there are good people talking, and it shouldn't just be me. It should be everybody talking. Are you talking about it? Are you sharing all of this information and videos on your channel? Just a question, that's all. Because, it's just a thought. So that's it, really. I think I just wanted to let you know my, interestingly enough, the videos that were taken down were all about parasites, chat, GPT, that was taken down. What else? The chat that I did yesterday, that was taken down in an hour, and then one about the radio frequencies that are generated by cell towers, so that was taken down. And another one was taken down, but I don't know where it is. I can't find it. I just know that it said how many videos I'd got and how many I'd lost within that moment. I thought, oh, that's about 5 videos I've lost, but the recent ones. I hope you appreciate that every time I do a video like that, it means that I could lose this channel that I absolutely have worked for years to create and build. If you've got a channel and you've got 2 subscribers, then really you've got really not much to lose. So it should be you who's sharing all of these videos with the world and talking about it. Maybe you should start to talk about it. Why should it be left to people just like me? Why can't you do it? Oh, because I've got a big followership. Well, I've worked at it, sure. So I've got a lot to lose, because I don't want to waste all of these years just for the sake of things that you already know. Okay, you already know this. Doesn't matter who says it, you know it. The point being, what do you do with it? How do you make a difference? How do you change your life and your world? You know, sharing it with everybody hasn't changed anything. It hasn't made a difference. People are saying, oh, it's a good job we're the frontline people. Without us saying what we're saying, it could have got worse. Got worse with what do you mean got worse? It's worse than it's ever been, what they're doing. You know, I could now reel off tons of stuff that's been happening in these past few months that you probably don't even know about. Tons of stuff. But again, I don't want to go down that path because I've got 2 strikes. And I think I've said enough this week and last week and the week before. So I just appreciate if I wouldn't get a load of emails saying that I'm a chill because I'm not talking truth. I mean, I sometimes I lose heart in humanity. I really do sometimes when they only see the last thing I've done, or they only see just in front of their nose and nothing else. You know, if you want to check out all the work I've done over these years, you know, I try and balance, and most of the good people who have talked on here have lost their channel, you know, so I think I've boxed clever. I think I've been pretty smart. I actually think, whoo, you know, and I could have just gone over, I could have lost everything, but I keep pulling back at the right moment, fingers crossed. Like I said, now I'll get knocked over by a bus when I walk out of the door, or this channel will go off. But I hope it doesn't, because I try to get the balance. So I'm trying to be a little bit smarter than the average cookie, but maybe I'm not. Maybe I'm just lucky or even unlucky, whatever it may be you think. Because yeah, I often get messages saying, you know, oh, you must be a shill because you haven't been taken down and you've got a big platform. And then I get people saying, no, you're a liar, you're a cheat, because look at your subscribers and look how many people actually watch your video. And I've said, hey guys, the reason why I got so many subscribers is because of one video, and that was the lemon video, and that's what got my subscribers up. So after that, some people weren't interested in what I had to talk about. So I only get a few thousand, and every now and again I might get one which does, you know, 100,000, which is very rare these days, but most of them are 1 or 2 or 3,000, which are, I believe, the amount of people who do watch me. So I don't feel as if I've got a big channel with a massive big following. I just know I've got certain friends who come and watch, who over these years who come and watch and have liked what I've said, sometimes not liked what I've said, but they see, they read between the lines and they know that, you know, God, did he just say that? No, I didn't mean that. He meant this. And some people really understand me because they've been with me so long. So sometimes I'll say stuff like, you know, the other day I don't normally watch back the video, but I said some things are objective and I meant subjective, and people are laughing saying he didn't mean that. And some, because I'm not, I didn't go to school. I was never at school. I was always doing other things, and I didn't learn English properly and so on. So I've been self-taught in what I do, and what I have and what I do is my best. I just give you the best with what I've got. And I'm not always right, for sure I'm not. I'm not always, you know, somebody who's accurate at certain this and that, but what I do is my best, and what I do say is what I believe. And I do it out of love. I don't do it out of manipulation. I don't ask you to, I don't do a video so I make you buy anything from me. I'm always saying to you guys, go to your local crystal store and support them, because my crystals are not cheap, because I work with every single crystal in my hand and I work with them for hours. And this is what I do. It's called energy work. That's why people say, oh, your crystals are expensive. Yeah, they are, because you don't know who I am and what I do. But this is what I've done for 20 years. And it's evolved. And my clients are 98% returning clients. So I don't actually need to make the videos to anybody, because I've got 98% clients who return all the time. So I can live happily with returning clients. Because they do, they return. Most clients buy a crystal every month because they love the energy from the crystal, because I put good energy and specific energies into each individual crystal. So it's like, you know, it's very difficult to find the balance, even though I give away when somebody's angry and you're a crystals expert, what's your address? Here, I'll send you a crystal. So it's like, it doesn't matter. It's always going to be people that love you, hate you, or are angry or not angry, and you guys all know this. It's always a reflection of how they're feeling that day. And I know that, but I don't think, oh, forget it. It's who they are at that moment. No, I want them to be happy. I want them to feel better. That's why I make these videos. I make the videos to try and make people feel better from feeling bad. And that's always been, whenever I've been in a room of people when I was 18 dancing on a stage, I want people to be happy. If somebody's sad, I focus on that one person and send them love or give them a cuddle. I've always been that person because I don't like to see people unhappy. I don't like to see people sad. I don't like to see people distraught. I don't like to see people who are physically ill. So yeah, I'm going to try and help them. And if I see that shop there selling pork pies and the poisoned pork pies, I'm gonna say it. There's something wrong in that shop. I won't sit down like most so-called spiritual gurus and not say anything. And what they do then is they manipulate the word spirituality and then start to tell you all to meditate, and that will heal that person who's on the floor having a heart attack because they've eaten a pie. No, I'm sorry, mate, that doesn't work. And what about the next person walking in? What are you going to do now? And meditate and they'll be okay. No, they're walking out and they're sick again. Oh, well, that's because it's their path and it's what they asked for. Well, maybe what it was you saw it, and maybe what your path was to stop them from going in there and getting sick. Maybe when somebody's on the floor, instead of and sending love, why don't you go over there and pick them up? Because maybe you saw that because it was a point that you needed to intervene, because that's part of spirituality. You see, you can't win. You can't win. There's so many people who talk spirituality but use it for their own manipulating ways so that they don't have to do anything. And this is why I'm very much a single individual that doesn't conform or speak spirituality like most people do. I just speak my truth. And you know what? I've been doing this work for 20 years and I've had over 10,000 clients. And I'm tired of listening to the nonsense that comes out of most people's mouths now. And I just keep myself to myself and I share what I share. And if people like it, they like it. And if they don't, they don't. It's fine. Free will gives you that. You either want to listen or you don't, or you want to say, okay, I'll listen to that. Let me try it and let's see if that works. And, you know, touch wood right now, touch wood. Yeah, the parasite tea is working really well. The oils, I mean, I got a beautiful message 2 days ago. Beautiful message. A guy's got cancer and he was rubbing the oils, the sacred oil from Lemon House and the sacred oil from Bajerski, and he's been using that for, I don't know, 6-7 weeks and it's going down. It's like, wow, you know, miracle messages are always coming in. Somebody who was severe, tried to take their life 3 times in the past 4 years, sent a message that they started my parasite cleanse a year ago and they have nothing but good thoughts every day now. So, you know, it's like you get good messages that just lift you up and keep you going a little bit more, instead of saying, you know what, I'm tired of it. So I will keep going, and I've got, it's not a thick skin, but I've learned to understand that people are angry not because of me, but because of how they're feeling. It's true. If I'm angry with you and I'm getting upset on a video, it's because I'm upset. It's because I'm angry, right? If I'm saying something negative to somebody, it's because I'm feeling negative. It's not because of that. Unless, of course, somebody hits you over the head with a hammer. Then you've got all the right to say, hey, that hurt me, you pillock. But, you know, just in a normal day, you know what I mean? So that's it. I hope you enjoyed this chat today. Probably you didn't, because there's not really much said in this video. But the next video I'll do will be a super cool video, I promise. Wishing you all a lovely day. Thank you for your support. Thank you for supporting markbajerski.com, and I'm so glad that what I've learned over 20 years and used as spiritual tools and everything that's on my website has made a difference in people's lives. And I will continue to share that love and healing as long as I feel it's right. So I keep going. So for myself and these 2 beautiful ladies behind me and the silk flowers behind me, which take an awful lot of watering, have a great day. Take care.